No, let them tell me. Now, if you kill me, Martha dies. And if you fly away...
We can say this without a single doubt that Lex Luthor is a name that needs absolutely no introduction among comic book fans. In the expansive pantheon of legendary DC Universe villains, this idealist billionaire ranks almost next to the Joker as a batshit crazy megalomaniac hell-bent on destroying the Man of Steel for almost half a century. A legendary adversary created by the minds of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster back in 1940, Lex Luthor made his first appearance in Action Comics number 23, setting the premise to become the primary nemesis of Superman for decades. A character who wears many hats, from a brilliant industrialist to a philanthropic powerhouse on par with the likes of Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark, and a manipulative genius who clashes with nearly every member of the Justice League. His notoriety extends way beyond his casual villainous exploits, with his orchestration of the infamous Legion of Doom, victories over numerous Justice League members, and even a stint as a leader of a nation during a successful defense against extraterrestrial invaders. Luthor's relentless pursuit, using every form of weapon his ruthless intellect could comprehend, to weaken and destroy the Man of Steel, has driven him to employ every sinister device imaginable. As even though he was human, Luthor wanted every bit of what Superman had. However, his character was not always the ruthless megalomaniac we know today. Originally conceived as a mad scientist, he evolved into the quintessential embodiment of lawful evil, a man driven by ego and ambition to rule the world. His complex relationship with Superman reflects a deeper philosophical rivalry, making him one of the most intriguing villains in the comic book world. In summary, Lex Luthor, a character of remarkable evolution, embodies a multifaceted, relatable, and frightening adversary in the world of comics. In this video, we'll delve into the complex intricacies of Lex Luthor's physiological feats that fixates him right at the top of Superman's rogue list. So without wasting another moment, let's get right to it. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
What? You gonna wash your hands? No, 'cause I'm evil.
Who is Lex Luthor? Lex Luthor's origin story carries a touch of tragedy, as with many villains. Initially, Luthor wasn't the evil genius we know of him today, but his exceptional intelligence always set him apart. His early life unfolded in Smallville, Kansas, where he grew up with his sickly sister Lena. Lex made a promise to cure her, setting the stage for his relentless pursuit of scientific knowledge. As a young man, Lex experienced a contentious relationship with Smallville peers Clark Kent and Lana Lang. Upon reaching adulthood, he relocated to Metropolis, still harboring some hope for humanity, despite his growing cynicism. His arrival in the city coincided with a disturbing wave of missing persons cases, prompting him to don a purple and green jacket with an L emblem and a utility belt, creating his early heroic persona. Lex's scientific acumen allowed him to confront and challenge the abductors, madmen known as Dr. Farm and Dr. Graft. He fought valiantly against these villains, earning him a reputation as a local hero in Metropolis. However, over time, Lex's faith in humanity eroded, and he succumbed to cynicism. Intercepting signals from an alien craft, called the Brain Interacting Construct, he initiated a dialogue, trading Earth's data for advanced alien knowledge. Opportunity beckoned when Lex joined forces with General Lane of Project Steel Soldier and Glenn Morgan, the corporate tycoon of Metropolis, against Superman. Yet, staying true to his duplicitous nature, Lex double-crossed his partners, swiping the kryptonite they planned to use against Superman and exposing their scheme to a reporter named Clark Kent. Lex's involvement with Brainiac during the shrinking of Metropolis further deepened his descent into criminality. After the incident, he seized the opportunity to fill the power vacuum left by Glenn Morgan's downfall, cementing his position as Superman's most formidable foe. Additionally, Lex's antagonistic endeavors included attempts to create his own subservient Superman, viewing the value of having such a being under his control. He put in endless years and time on experiments like Subject A0 and Subject B0, also known as Bizarro, which exemplified his relentless pursuit of power. Intriguingly, Lex Luthor would go on to serve as the President of the United States at some point, a position he used to further his ambitions. His ongoing feud with Superman led to the numerous confrontations, both in the public eye and behind closed doors, allowing his multifaceted character to continue its evolution, with each iteration bringing new layers to his complex persona into a global menace within the intricate tapestry of the DC Universe.
Goodbye, my sweetheart,
Truth behind Lex Luthor's bald head. Over the years, Lex Luthor's distinct bald head has become an iconic part of his character, but it wasn't always that way, depending on which DC canon you follow. In some versions, he sported red or brown hair, and in a few instances, even a beard. Yet the bald look has become his signature style, embodying his straight-to-business persona. The first iteration of Lex's origin story, dating back to 1960, attributes his premature baldness to a mishap involving Superboy. During an attempt to extinguish a fire, Superboy's frost breath accidentally caused chemicals to fall onto Lex, disintegrating his hair. But in the 1980s, a canon rewrite presented his baldness as a hereditary trait, making it less of a focal point in the story. It wasn't until 2004 that writers introduced yet another reason for his hair loss, being a dire explosion incident. Although the details of how a fire could cause permanent baldness without scarring remain somewhat mysterious. Now, in his early appearances, Lex's hairstyle featured a head full of burnt orange, half-bull, half-Ivy League haircut. However, the honest real-life explanation behind him going bald is a ghost artist who had mistakenly confused Lex Luthor with someone else. This one-off error was corrected, but astonishingly, the same artist repeated the same mistake in Superman issue 10, cementing Lex's iconic bald appearance. What are the odds of that, huh? This blame for the credit for this visual change has been attributed to Leo Nowak, a ghost artist for the Superman newspaper strip. One theory suggests that Nowak might have inadvertently mixed up Lex Luthor with another Superman villain, the Ultrahumanite, who was originally depicted as a bald character by Joe Shuster in early Superman comics. Alternatively, it is also possible that in an artistic confusion, Nowak mistook one of the bald henchmen employed by Lex Luthor for the actual character, resulting in Lex Luthor inheriting their distinctive bald head. Coming to 1960, Superman co-creator Jerry Siegel offered an explanation in Adventure Comics number 271 behind this iconic mad scientist's unforeseen bald head. Now, this backstory involved a young Lex Luthor and Superboy in Smallville. In this intriguing narrative, Lex Luthor emerges as a brilliant young scientist, initially sporting a full head of brown hair, who recently took up residence in the quiet town of Smallville. When Superboy came to pay a visit to the newcomer, their encounter took a dramatic turn when a kryptonite meteor crashed perilously close to Superboy, its radioactive menace posing a grave threat to the Boy of Steel. In a remarkable act of heroism, Lex Luthor used his tractor to push the deadly meteor into a patch of quicksand, saving Superboy from a potentially disastrous fate. What made this story particularly fascinating was Lex's ardent admiration for Superboy. His barn was a veritable shrine to the young hero, adorned with countless photographs capturing Superboy's heroic feats. Remarkably, it also housed a collection of rocks that had felt the impact of Superboy's powerful punches and steel girders bent by his bare hands. Instead of finding Lex's intense fascination unsettling, Superboy chose to reciprocate his newfound friend's heroism and decided to construct a state-of-the-art laboratory for Lex, fashioned from discarded materials and abandoned junk. This laboratory became the canvas for a daring experiment, as Superboy filled it with rare and volatile chemicals, some so enigmatic that the hero himself couldn't decipher their properties. Astonishingly, Lex's early forays into the experimentation within his lab yielded resounding successes. Lex's initial breakthrough resulted in the creation of a novel form of protoplasmic life, a testament to his burgeoning scientific prowess. Motivated by his deep appreciation for Superboy, Lex embarked on a mission to develop an antidote for kryptonite, a substance that posed a dire threat to the young hero. To the surprise of many, including Superboy, Lex achieved this remarkable feat in just a few panels, showcasing his remarkable intellect. However, amid the jubilation of his achievement, an overexcited Lex inadvertently knocked over the vials containing the mysterious, volatile chemicals, igniting a dangerous fire within the laboratory. Superboy swiftly arrived at the scene, employing his super breath to extinguish the flames. Tragically, the turbulent winds caused a vial of acid to shatter, obliterating both the kryptonite antidote and Lex's newly created protoplasmic life form. The most profound consequence of this mishap, though, was the noxious chemical vapor that led to the abrupt loss of all of Lex's hair, forever marking him with his iconic bald appearance. Frustrated and disheartened by the catastrophe, Lex declared that he would never replicate either of his groundbreaking experiments. He went on to assert that Superboy had deliberately sabotaged his work, fueled by jealousy of Luthor's genius. This incident sowed the seeds of animosity between them, ultimately leading to Lex Luthor's deep-seated conviction that Superboy was his adversary. unnecessary. Subsequent tales hinted at the possibility that Lex's traumatic hair loss may have contributed to his descent into criminal insanity. It was observed that Luthor's pathological hatred for Superboy seemed to intensify after this pivotal event. Remarkably, it was Superboy himself who indirectly supplied Lex with the unknown chemicals responsible for his hair loss, a curious twist that cast an intriguing shadow over their complex relationship. In the wake of the DC Universe's reboot, following the cataclysmic events of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, Lex Luthor's baldness took on a more down-to-earth origin story. Initially portrayed as a middle-aged individual with a receding hairline, Luthor gradually lost all of his hair due to the natural progression of male pattern baldness, and didn't appear to be particularly ashamed of his bald plate. However, when an opportunity arose for Luthor to clone himself a fresh, younger body, he left no room for ambiguity about his complex relationship with hair loss. His new clone boasted a lustrous mane of shoulder-length red hair and a thick beard, clearly indicating that Lex Luthor harbored deep-seated insecurities about his baldness, and was inclined to compensate when given the chance. Beyond the confines of comic book pages, Luthor's baldness took on varying explanations, often intertwined with his arch-nemesis Superman. In the live-action Superboy television series, Luthor found himself caught in a laboratory fire, mirroring his comic book counterpart's origin story, resulting in the loss of his hair. To conceal his bald head, he resorted to wearing a wig, reminiscent of Gene Hackman's portrayal in the Superman movies. In the television series Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, Lex Luthor presented an intriguing departure from his bald persona. For a substantial portion of the series, he enjoyed a full head of hair. However, a dramatic twist unfolded when Luthor faced near death in one episode. The resurrection process administered by his scientists had unforeseen consequences which led to his once thick locks to fall out, further highlighting the intricate relationship between Lex Luthor and his ever-evolving appearance. Throughout the years, many other backstories emerged to explain Lex's baldness. The Smallville TV series portrayed Lex Luthor's hair loss, taking an even stranger twist. Here, the kryptonite meteor shower that descended upon Earth alongside Kal-El's spacecraft had a profound impact on numerous humans due to its radiation. Among those affected was a 9-year-old red-headed Lex Luthor, whose exposure to the meteors resulted in the complete loss of his hair. As a peculiar silver lining, the kryptonite endowed Lex with a quasi-superpower, an enhanced immune system, and accelerated healing abilities that rendered him highly resistant to illness. This unique attribute also provided an explanation for Lex's remarkable resilience in surviving numerous near-death experiences throughout the series. In the Batman vs. Superman film, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor initially sports a full head of hair, which is shaved off when he's imprisoned, a look he maintains in the Justice League end credits scene. Now, in a way, Luthor's decision to stay bald aligns with the logic of practicality, followed by successful thinkers like Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg, who favored simplicity in their appearance to conserve mental energy for more significant pursuits. Likely for a billionaire tech mogul like Lex, a bald head fits perfectly with his focus on world domination and saving humanity from Superman, sparing him the hassle of grooming. Medical enhancements he did with his body. In a gripping storyline, Lex Luthor once defied the clutches of cancer through daringly unconventional experimental treatments, showcasing his relentless pursuit of immortality. Not stopping there, he even tried his hand at cloning his own body, seeking to transcend mortality and attain superhuman abilities. In the Forever Evil story arc, we were introduced to a chilling twist, as Lex wielded a heart fashioned from kryptonite, rendering him a potent threat to Kryptonians simply by their proximity. Furthermore, Lex also delved into the development of healing serums in certain storylines, though not quite reaching the regenerative prowess of Wolverine. However, the kryptonite-induced cancer proved an unyielding adversary, spreading throughout Luthor's entire body, pushing him to take an audacious path only a billionaire supervillain would undertake. Yes, you guessed it right, creating a pristine clone of himself. With the new, gleaming body prepared for his consciousness, Lex embarked on the ultimate step to secure his survival by undergoing a complete brain transplant. He orchestrated this daring move just in the nick of time, averting the cancer's advance toward his brain, and relocated it into the genetically identical cancer-free vessel. Intriguingly, Lex Luthor's vault of scientific achievements holds claims of discovering cures for both cancer and AIDS. Regrettably, adhering to his villainous nature, he chooses to gatekeep those groundbreaking revelations from the world.
I'd hoped to remain hidden.
until I could install myself.
He once fused his body with Brainiac in a remarkable storyline marking the conclusion of the Silver or Bronze Age era for Superman. Brainiac met his demise in Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. Notably, this narrative also sealed the fate of Lex Luthor, who stumbled upon Brainiac's severed head and, in a desperate bid for immortality, fused himself with it. However, he soon realized that Brainiac's consciousness endured, which led to a tumultuous mental battle ensuing within Luthor's own body as the two entities vied for dominance. As Luthor faced the inevitability of his defeat, he implored Lana Lang to end his life, sparing him from enduring Brainiac's subjugation. Although Lana complied with his plea, Brainiac retained control over Luthor's body for a brief period until the onset of rigor mortis. Additionally, in the 12th episode of the second season of Justice League Unlimited animated series, a startling revelation unfolds as Brainiac, residing within Lex Luthor's body, unveils the sinister truth behind their fusion. Now Brainiac had covertly inserted a microscopic copy of himself into Luthor's body years ago, gradually exerting control over him. In this symbiotic alliance, Brainiac not just successfully cured Luthor's kryptonite poisoning, but also bestowed upon him mysteriously mind-blowing super strength. The ultimate goal was to transfer Brainiac's consciousness into a more subtle android body. Anyway, a fierce battle ensues when the Justice League confronts this Luthor-Brainiac hybrid, resulting in the transformation of the LexCorp Tower into a menacing robot ship. While the League eventually triumphs, Luthor Brainiac's cunning diversion allows them to escape to seek the power of the Darkheart. There, they absorb the nanotechnology and merge into an all-powerful entity intent on erasing all knowledge from Earth and the universe, so they could remake it into their own liking. In a desperate showdown, they conjure android replicas of the Justice Lords to torment the League. But in the end, Flash's sacrifice and ultimate return to the Speed Force, however, plays a pivotal role in the duo's defeat, ultimately leaving Luthor naked and powerless. Lex got psychic abilities from Kryptonian technology. In a bizarre turn of events, Lex Luthor's encounters with Brainiac led to a mind-bending fusion of his brain, with advanced Kryptonian technology extracted from a robot clone of Lois Lane. This unholy union imbued him with temporary psychic abilities, which really is a rare moment of superpowers for Luthor, who, irrespective of his scientific achievements, was still a human. However, his newfound gifts quickly spiral into chaos when during the same incident, he inadvertently opens a portal to the dreaded Phantom Zone, DC's ominous Hell Dimension. This gateway unleashes a monstrous and bloodthirsty creature into Luthor's world, a foe which proves impossible for him to confront by any conventional means. Instead, he forms a psychic connection with this abomination, only to discover the creature's desperate desire to escape the internal torment of the Phantom Zone. In a peculiar twist of fate, Luthor empathizes with the monster and decides to employ his psychic abilities and newfound bond to once again take on Superman, with predictably disastrous results. Ultimately, his ill-fated venture culminates in him being drawn into a Phantom Zone portal. He went insane after wearing his war suit. Lex Luthor's iconic war suit, although not yet a fixture in live-action adaptations, remains a defining element of his character in many comics, video games, and animation. As a character bereft of superhuman abilities, Luthor heavily relies upon technological marvel, akin to other billionaire superheroes like Batman and Iron Man. The suit grants him a plethora of abilities, from flight to super strength and durability, while its weaponry arsenal includes super-savvy kryptonite-based features. In certain storylines, this suit boasts additional functions such as lie detection, hypnotic powers, telekinesis, space survivability, optical illusions, and even impenetrable force fields. Now, on a quirky yet intriguing side note, an early version of Luthor's kryptonite-powered suit was so batshit crazy that it literally induced insanity in any person who wore it. Strangely, temporary or complete insanity seems to recur in Luthor's villainous schemes, which is somewhat ironic considering his already unstable psyche. In one instance, this design flaw actually played to Luthor's advantage, as he had someone else don the suit, rendering the pilot insane and ensuring they could not testify against him, evading Superman's investigative efforts. Furthermore, Lex Luthor's history with nuclear energy is also notable, as he became the first comic book character to employ an atomic weapon back in 1940. This storyline's accuracy was so disconcerting that its publication was delayed until 1946, years due to the Manhattan Project's secrecy. Surprisingly, Luthor's association with devastating nuclear technology persisted over the years, including his survival of a series of self-initiated nuclear blasts. He has a genius level of intellect. Lex Luthor is undeniably a genius, with a level of intellect that places him among the world's brightest minds, sharing this distinction with individuals like Bruce Wayne. With an IQ that literally places him in a league of his own, he boasts intellect rates, which are estimated to fall between the range of a 7th to 9th level intellect. Luthor's remarkable cognitive abilities are further bolstered by his eidetic memory, granting him exceptional recall and information retention, whilst positioning him as a polymath of unparalleled expertise. As the CEO of LexCorp, he demonstrates exceptional prowess in business management, overseeing a vast corporate empire. He is also multilingual, making him proficient in languages such as Mandarin and Korean. His extensive knowledge spans various fields, including political science, chemistry, computer hacking, robotic engineering, and mechanical engineering. Notably, Lex has designed advanced robotic bodies, such as the one for Metello, preserving the character's powers while rendering the transition virtually imperceptible from his original human form. While Batman is renowned for his deductive abilities, Luthor identifies Brainiac, whose name explicitly references intellect, as his sole intellectual equal, transcending the confines of the DC universe for a suitable peer. However, Luthor's association with Brainiac has its drawbacks, occasionally leading to confrontations. Despite lacking conventional superpowers, Luthor's superhuman attributes lie in his photographic memory, enabling him to vividly recall and replay images, facts, and details from his past at will. This exceptional memory serves him well in various aspects, from memorizing intricate scientific processes to anticipating the combat techniques of invulnerable adversaries like Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. Intriguingly, it took Luthor years to deduce the connection between Clark Kent and Superman, as he struggled to believe that someone as immensely powerful as Superman would willingly adopt the guise of a meek, vulnerable human. Lex Luthor has a planet named after him. While not on Earth, Lex Luthor once found himself cast as a hero on a distant planet known as Lexor. This unexpected heroic role came about when Luthor confronted the Man of Steel on Lexor, benefiting from the planet's red sun, which had significantly weakened Superman's might. Remarkably, Luthor emerged victorious in a physical confrontation with Superman, earning him admiration and respect as a hero on Lexar. Despite his ruthless reputation, Lex found himself that he was not universally reviled by women, and his romantic liaisons resulted in multiple children by different partners. However, it was enduring this relationship with an alien woman from Lexor named Andorra that stood out. Lex and Andorra eventually married and welcomed a child together. Their family life brought a semblance of happiness to Luthor's complex existence, but tragically, this happiness was short-lived, as Lexor met its catastrophic end, his wife and children, resulting in a devastating loss he had to endure all by himself.
President.
He has martial arts skills. Lex Luthor's persistent pursuit of superpowers sometimes leads him to overlook his natural skills, particularly his mastery of hand-to-hand combat, fueled by his intrinsic finesse over martial arts. While facing Superman may be futile, Luthor has achieved a remarkable feat that eludes most villains. He defeated Batman in a fight, as well as Nightwing on a separate occasion. Of course, Luthor didn't play entirely fair in these battles, as Nightwing was chemically incapacitated, and Luthor still relied on parts of his armor when facing Batman. But given his lifelong quest to best Superman, Luthor simply relishes in any victory he can secure. Interestingly, Lex Luthor sought his martial arts training from an unexpected source, the Amazons. Yes, we're talking about the skilled warriors who are Wonder Woman's sisters in arms. While they did teach him, it is crucial to note that they held no fondness for him. Luthor's brash, arrogant, and disrespectful attitude didn't sit well with the Amazons, who found his fighting style sloppy and unscrupulous. Instead of adhering to their code of honor in combat, Luthor chose to fight dirty, leveraging the skills he learned from the Amazons to further unscrupulous ends. This approach starkly contrasted with the commitment to honor and justice followed with the Amazons. Lex Luthor became the new Superman. In a departure from his typical villainous role during the initiation of DC Rebirth, Lex Luthor embarked on a heroic path after returning from Apocalypse and learning of Superman's apparent demise. Driven by a desire to become a hero that his comatose sister could be proud of, Luthor made a bold move by acquiring the Daily Planet newspaper. His motivation led him to retrieve Superman's cape, and he confidently declared himself as the new Superman, ready to protect Metropolis. Now, this transition to heroism definitely didn't go unnoticed, and Luthor made a public appearance by thwarting a robbery and hostage situation while cameras rolled. However, his claim to Superman mantle was met with a lot of skepticism when the pre-Flashpoint Clark Kent, having arrived from another timeline through the events of Convergence, confronted him. Ken believed Luthor to be the same villainous figure from this world and intended to stop him. Before their confrontation could escalate further, a twist of fate occurred when a captive Doomsday, the actual target of the robbery, was unleashed. This dire situation forced both Supermen to put aside their differences and collaborate to neutralize this monstrous threat. As Luthor attempted to establish himself as a hero, his journey took an unexpected turn. He became the target of two extraterrestrial beings, Godslayer and Zayd, who possessed visions of Luthor ultimately replacing Darkseid on Apocalypse and committing even more heinous acts than the new god himself. The situation grew perilous, and the old Superman intervened once again to rescue Luthor from these formidable adversaries. Together, they navigated dangers and managed to return to Earth. Despite Luthor's newfound heroic endeavors, trust issues began to surface among his fellow heroes. Feeling abandoned by Superman, Luthor decided to distance himself and rip the Superman symbol from his armor. While he refrained from returning to his villainous ways, he chose to operate as an independent hero with secretive plans that he refused to share with Superman family. Later, Luthor's unexpected journey took another twist when he was recruited by Brainiac to join Team Entropy in the battle against the Omega Titans. Despite enduring ongoing mistrust and being branded a villain by some, Luthor demonstrated a surprising act of heroism during the confrontation with the Omega Titans. He played a crucial role by infusing the Justice League's weapon with the essence of entropy, leading him to an epiphany about Earth and humanity, representing the universal force of entropy itself. Luthor shared this revelation with Martian Manhunter, leaving a sense of uncertainty about his future interactions with the Justice League. The complex and ever-evolving character of Lex Luthor continued to challenge traditions, notions of heroism, and villainy in the DC universe.
As his hero, I am the villain of the story.
Marvelous verdict. In conclusion, Lex Luthor is easily one of DC Comics' most enduring and multifaceted characters, defying any simple categorization as a hero or villain. His genius-level intellect, driven ambition, and constant pursuit of power have fueled his complex journey through the DC universe as a megalomaniac. From his relentless rivalry with Superman to his unexpected forays into heroism, Luthor's character has evolved over the years, challenging traditional notions of morality. His scientific brilliance, coupled with his relentless determination, has led countless innovations and threats to the DC universe, often forcing the world's greatest heroes to confront their own limitations. Whether it's his iconic battlesuit, his experiments with Kryptonian technology, or the intricate schemes to gain superhuman abilities, Lex Luthor's ingenuity knows no bounds. Yet beneath his layers of ambition and ego lies a character who, on rare occasions, has shown glimpses of empathy and even heroism. Overall, Lex Luthor's complex narrative arc serves as a testament to the enduring allure of characters who blur the line between good and evil, leaving readers and audiences captivated by his ever-evolving role in the world of superheroes and villains. Now that we've reached the very end of this video, which is your favorite Lex Luthor story arc? Please let us know in the comment section below. Have a good one and be safe.